From 18 to 28, she had been with Bruno 10 long years. A decade of love, loyalty, and belief that they were heading toward forever. But the night before their wedding, he looked her in the eye and told her he was tired of her. Then he walked away hand in hand with a younger woman, not even bothering to hide it. He thought she would chase after him, cry, scream, beg him to come back like a desperate stray dog. But she didn't. She didn't shed a tear, didn't plead, didn't make a scene. Instead, she canceled the wedding, burned the dress she had dreamed of since she was 22, and threw away the ring that once made her heart race. Bruno even made a bet with his friends that she would come crawling back to him soon enough. But then, news of her wedding broke. And Bruno lost it. For the first time, he called her. For the first time, he cried. For the first time in 10 years, he knelt in front of her and begged for forgiveness. But by then, another man's hand was already firmly wrapped around hers. "Thank you for not marrying me," she said with a calm smile. "From all three of us, me whole new family, sincerely thank you." On her 28th birthday, which also marked their 10-year anniversary, she had planned to propose to Bruno. Yes, she was the one who took the initiative. She ordered a custom ring, prepared a beautiful gown, and thought, if men can propose, why can't women? She chose that special day, full of hope and excitement, and headed to the private lounge where Bruno was supposed to be. But before she even opened the door, his voice seeped through the crack, mocking and cruel. "Zoe? That boring old woman? What's so special about her? Of course I know today's her birthday. Of course I know it's our anniversary. I know it better than anyone. But I just don't want to see her." Inside, the sound of laughter and clinking glasses echoed without a care in the world. "To be honest, Zoe's pretty. But now you've got way more options. What about that new girl, Laura? Still seeing her?" There was a pause, probably Bruno lighting a cigarette. "I'm still with her. She's way more fun than Zoe. I don't want to leave her yet." Another wave of laughter filled the room. "Dude, she's been with you for 10 years. What if she finds out?" Bruno's response was laced with arrogance. "I don't care. I never planned on marrying her anyway." That was it. Her heart turned to ice. She wiped her tears, turned around, and left that room full of surprises. As she exited, she bumped into Laura Young, radiant, dressed to impress. Outside, rain poured from the heavens. And for the first time in years, she allowed herself to cry, to break down beneath the storm. And that's when something in her finally woke up. If a man doesn't love you, 10 years won't make a difference. She stopped clinging to the idea of Bruno. Just days later, Bruno shamelessly made his relationship with Laura public. People said they looked like the perfect couple, him, mature and charming, her, young and delicate. That was Bruno. The difference between love and no love was night and day. The way he treated Laura like a queen was something Zoe had never experienced. An apartment, a car, jewelry. He showered Laura with everything he never gave her. Everyone assumed they were official now. A few mutual friends, still loyal to Zoe, asked Bruno in their group chat, "Seriously? You're cheating on Zoe and flaunting it? Don't you have a heart?" Some told him he should choke on a needle for being such a jerk. Bruno snapped. "Fine. You want an explanation for Zoe? I'll give her one. But if anyone dares to talk crap about Laura again, watch out. I'll come for you all." And right when her friends were trying to cheer her up on that birthday Bruno had ruined, he barged into the celebration with Laura in tow. She hadn't even cut the cake yet when all eyes turned toward them. Bruno saw her laughing with her friends and for a moment he froze. But then, with his usual arrogance, he tightened his grip on Laura and announced, "Zoe, I'm here to make things clear." Her hand hovered over the cake. She sat down calmly and looked him in the eye. "I know, Bruno. 10 years. You got tired of me. You fell for someone new, someone shinier. And now you want to leave me. Isn't that right?" She said it like it didn't hurt, like he hadn't broken her heart into pieces. But no one saw the way her nails dug into her palms. Bruno stood there, stunned by her composure, unsure why she wasn't screaming at him. Eventually he exhaled. Well, if you already know, then let's end it. So be it, she nodded, her gaze drifting to Laura. She's young. Bruno flinched, expecting an insult. But it never came. Instead, he offered a weak smile, like he was doing her a favor. Let's stay friends, okay? If you ever need anything at all, you can count on me. She smiled softly, stood, and said, No need, Bruno. Every relationship deserves full loyalty and exclusivity. If you couldn't give that to me, at least try to give it to her.
She didn't touch the cake.
She just gathered her friends and walked away. Behind her, she heard whispers. Damn, man. Zoe didn't deserve that. Even those who once laughed at her now felt sorry. Only Bruno kept talking, frustrated and defensive. What's with all the drama? Zoe's been clinging to me for 10 years. She'll be back. Wanna bet? His friends cursed at him, called him heartless. But he just smirked. Give it a month. She'll come crawling back. Everyone knows she's obsessed with me. Then Laura's soft voice pierced the air. If she comes back, what happens to me? Bruno pinched her cheek with a grin. You? You're my baby. But behave yourself, or I'll make you disappear too. Zoe walked away at her heels, not once looking back. She let out a bitter laugh, first mocking, then tired. The night before she moved out of Bruno's house, the wedding dress she had designed herself finally arrived. She had drawn it with her own hands, blending every style Bruno ever said he liked. She had waited over 6 months to see it. But now it looked hideous. She slashed it into pieces and burned it along with her photos. The ring?
Gone.
That house belonged to Bruno. And only God knows how much strength it took for her not to burn it down too. She moved into a hotel and called her professor. The woman thought she was calling to reject the overseas scholarship again, and she lost it. Do you realize the opportunity you're throwing away? You could study abroad, upgrade your career, change your life. You're wasting your future for some stupid romance. Zoe, you've completely lost yourself. Zoe didn't argue. She just listened quietly, tears soaking her cheeks, a sad smile on her face. When she finally let her professor finish yelling, she spoke. I've submitted the application to Milan, she said, steady and sure. So you can stop shouting. That love-struck brain got scared straight by her scolding. Her professor, realizing Zoe had finally made the right decision, let out a relieved sigh, then promptly launched into another round of scolding. If I'd known all it took was a good lecture, I would have given you 1 month ago. Zoe nodded to everything, letting her vent, until the woman calmed down. A few days later, she boarded the plane to Milan. And as if fate approved of her decision, she immediately clicked with another one of the professor's students upon arrival. They studied design together and often laughed about how their teacher never stopped talking. Time flew. Whatever had tied her to the past no longer held power here. Life abroad was busy, but full. And slowly, she began to heal. That Christmas, a friend organized a small get-together with a few fellow Chinese expats. But when she arrived, the room was nearly empty. This is all I could gather, her friend explained, embarrassed. The big shots are all busy. People like us, they don't bother showing up for. Zoe was already planning her exit after a couple drinks until the bell above the door chimed. A tall man walked in, shoulders dusted with snow. It was Romeo. The room stirred instantly. In their community, he was almost mythical. Her age, yet already a professor known for his cold, sharp temperament and for never taking on students, no matter how they begged. But somehow, that untouchable air only made him more admired. Professor? You're here? Someone asked, surprised. Romeo remained the same, poised, polished. He nodded slightly at the others, then walked straight toward Zoe. And for once he smiled. It's been a long time, Zoe. He wore a taupe gray coat, black scarf, gloves impeccable as always. But his hair was wet from the melted snow, a single drop sliding from his lashes down his cheek. Still handsome. But tonight, there was something different about him, something hard to describe. It really has, she replied. Her friend gaped at the scene. Wait, you know Professor Romeo? Zoe smiled. Old friends. Old friends, Romeo repeated, his voice low, his smile polite and magnetic. Then he looked at her. Leaving already? She nodded, cheeks a little flushed.
Yeah.
Might have overdone it on the wine. I'll walk you home. Her friend gave her a sly look, the universal expression of a nosy auntie. Zoe looked at Romeo and gave a small nod. It wasn't until they were outside that it hit her, had Romeo come tonight. Just for her? She noticed he was carrying an umbrella. If you brought an umbrella, why are your shoulders and hair soaked? Romeo tilted the umbrella more toward her side. The wind was strong. I couldn't hold it steady. Slowed me down. So, what if you were late? He stopped walking and turned to her, his gaze calm but intense. Zoe, he said softly, I missed my chance when we were 18. I've been waiting 10 years since. Her heart skipped a beat. He walked her all the way to her building and offered her the umbrella. This isn't like home. The weather turns in an instant. Best to be prepared. She smiled, grateful, but didn't take the umbrella.
Come up, she said.
It's still early. Maybe we can have some tea. Romeo stood still for a moment. Then, instead of answering, he calmly unbuckled his seatbelt. When they got out of the car, she stayed close under the umbrella he held. For a moment, time folded back on itself. She remembered that birthday night, her 28th, when it had poured rain, and she walked home, drenched and alone. And now, even if the snow was light and poetic, someone was there, holding an umbrella for her. Thanks for walking me home, she said as they stood in the hallway. Romeo gave her a small smile. Don't thank me. I came tonight for you. She smiled back and they rode the elevator together. I heard about you and Bruno, he said gently. She nodded.
Yes.
He started over. And like the past, I needed to know when to walk away. Romeo took off his glasses slowly. And you? Are you ready to start again? She looked into his eyes. Maybe it was the wine, or maybe it was something that had waited too long, but she was the one who kissed him first. At 18, she had a choice: Romeo, brilliant but intense, or Bruno, warm and easygoing. That year, she chose Bruno. It had taken her 10 years to try and resolve that question, and still, no answer had come. Now Romeo stood before her again, offering a new choice. Was it revenge? Or just an echo of a question still unanswered? She wanted to know, if she had chosen Romeo back then, would she have won? Even just once? Recklessly, boldly, she cornered him in the elevator and kissed him. Romeo didn't push her away. He kissed her back. He even shielded her head with his hand, then gently took the lead. Logic vanished. Desire took its place. His arms closed around her, and she couldn't stop gasping. His eyes were red in the corners, not just from heat, but something deeper.
Pain.
Longing. Frustration. That man, who always appeared so composed, wept for her. Zoe, he whispered, voice trembling. Is this your new choice? Are you going to regret it? A tear landed on the back of her hand, warm enough to make her shiver. She had never seen a man cry before. For a moment, she froze. Then she reached up and wiped his tears. I'm sorry to say this, Romeo, but no. I won't regret it. I just need to know, if I'd chosen you back then, would I have won? Even once? She took a breath. I'm 28. Maybe it's too late to fall in love with you, but I still want to try. Romeo suddenly smiled. He lowered his head, resting it in the crook of her neck. Then don't regret it, Zoe. Not ever. And that's how they spent the night, utterly senseless, wildly impulsive. From the elevator to her apartment floor, their clothes trailed from the sofa to the balcony. The Milan moon wasn't full or bright, but Romeo said her tears sparkled enough. He told her he had been holding himself back for over 10 years. And she believed him. That night, tangled in the sheets, she called a man beast for the first time. Are you trying to kill me? She laughed breathlessly. Romeo, eyes soft, replied. I couldn't resist. To me, you're still that 18-year-old girl. The alcohol had faded, lost somewhere between their kisses. When it was over, He carried her to the bathroom to wash up. In the bathtub, he wrapped his arms around her from behind, his lips brushing softly against her shoulder. "Zoe, promise me you won't back out," he whispered. "Promise you won't leave me." Romeo sounded so vulnerable. His love had always been one-sided, hopeless. And now, after everything they'd shared, all he wanted was one teeny bit of reassurance, something to hold on to. Amid the warm steam, she turned toward him and kissed him gently. "I'm not going anywhere, Romeo. We're not kids anymore. Let's give this a real shot. My heart's empty, let me try filling it completely with you. Will you let me?" He didn't answer, but his breath against her skin burned. For a long time, he just held her in silence. Then finally he murmured, "You were the one who started this, you'd better mean what you said." He let out a soft sigh. "I'm not great with emotions. I tend to push people away. And most of the time, I don't care. But with you, Zoe, I care.
Please fall for me.
Let's take care of each other." She giggled, kissed him again, and felt a strange kind of peace settle in her chest. Later, while Romeo was nervously explaining why the balcony plants had died under his care, something about too much water and not knowing plants could drown, her phone rang. She laughed helplessly, amused and a little frustrated. That month, she had discovered a softer side of him, one she hadn't known existed. Sighing, she took his hand. "These hands are meant to design, not garden. I have a new fashion line coming out next month. Why don't you help me review the sketches instead? And leave my poor plants alone, will you?" Romeo pouted a little, then nodded in defeat, stealing a kiss, as if to check whether she was still annoyed. Then he handed her the phone. "A call from your country." He seemed a bit tense. Zoe answered calmly.
"Zoe.
"You left for a whole month without telling anyone? That's not cool," the voice snapped. She stayed quiet, waiting to hear what else he'd say. It was one of Bruno's old party friends, someone who, frankly, wasn't worth keeping in her life. After a pause, he cleared his throat awkwardly. "So, when are you coming back? Everyone here misses you. It must be hard out there, right? If you ask me, you should come home and build your career here." Zoe cut him off with a distant smile. "I have no plans to return. Where I build my career is my decision. Just tell me, what are you really calling about?" On the other end, there was some shuffling, like the phone had been yanked away, and then static, followed by a beep. The call dropped. She put the phone down without a word and curled into Romeo's arms. "What's on your mind?" he asked. "You've got that frown again." He shook his head but held her tighter. Meanwhile, in a dim private room across the world, Bruno slammed his friend's phone onto the table, shattering it. "Hey, Zoe's not even your girlfriend anymore, and you're breaking my phone," his friend barked. Bruno didn't respond. He stood, rage boiling, and flung an entire tray of glasses to the floor. His friend, now actually irritated, glared at him. "You're the one who always said Zoe couldn't live without you. But now she's thriving and you can't deal. That's the truth, right?" Bruno exploded. "I can't deal? Get lost. She can come back if she wants or stay gone. What? She thinks this'll make me beg to marry her." The friend sneered. Bruno was clearly the only one still in denial. After all, it wasn't his girlfriend who had walked out without looking back. "I went home, and there wasn't a single photo of us left," Bruno shouted. "She burned everything. Think that'll make me regret leaving her? Never. I was the one who dumped her. I should be celebrating." His friend rolled his eyes and half-heartedly patted his shoulder. All right. Be happy then. And if you're so damn thrilled, put down the booze. If your stomach acts up again, no one's getting meds for you. And that girlfriend of yours? Be glad if Laura doesn't smother you in your sleep." Bruno clenched his jaw and stormed out. Outside, the rain was pouring. He hadn't brought an umbrella. No car, either'd only meant to grab a few drinks. Now he was stranded. He thought about calling someone, but he couldn't trust any of those so-called friends. If Zoe were still around, just thinking of her made his chest ache. But Bruno refused to see it for what it was. In his mind, it was simple. He hated her. 28 and still playing emotional games? It had been 3 months since she left. Not a message. Not a call. Just gone.
Fine.
If she wanted to play games, let's see who quits first. Instinctively, his finger hovered over her contact, then stopped. She had already blocked him. On WhatsApp. On calls. Everywhere. Seething, he blocked her back. Perfect, he muttered. Don't come crawling back crying, Zoe. Even if you beg me on your knees, I won't spare you a glance. Back in Milan, Zoe was drowning in work. Every fiber of her being was poured into her new fashion collection. Romeo saw it all. Maybe he'd taken one of her teasing remarks too seriously, because now he was actively pushing her career forward. He even designed a line of jewelry to match her clothes. Whenever they had a free moment, they'd sit across from each other by the big window, sketching. Time slipped away, without them noticing. What should we have for dinner? Romeo would ask like clockwork. Without being asked, he always stepped into the role of chef. Until she met him again, she hadn't known brilliance could taste so good. For someone like her, far from home, he was a gift, a steady companion. A quiet warmth. Should I start prepping, or do you want to go to that Chinese place on the corner? He asked one evening. She smiled mischievously. Do they cook better than you? Romeo shook his head with pride. Let's stay in. I'll even make dessert. And what's my tip, Professor? She tucked her sketches away and stood. The next second, Romeo wrapped his arms around her. No kiss. Just a soft, still hug.
This
is your tip. The more time she spent with him, the more her heart softened. There was a time when she believed Bruno would be faithful, that they'd grow old together. But reality had slapped her in the face hard. What she had searched for during those 10 long years, what she had dreamed of finding in love, was now being given to her freely, without her asking, by the very man she once let slip away. Zoe never considered herself a saint. At 18, she chose Bruno on impulse, swept up in the thrill of his warmth and charm. But now, at 28, she knew exactly what she wanted. She wanted to be someone's first choice. She wanted a career, a home, a child. So when she discovered Bruno had cheated, she took her time, emptied her heart, and walked away in less than a week. A few months later, she let Romeo in. At first, yes, she may have used him part revenge, part rebuilding her vision of the future, but somewhere along the way, it stopped being about Bruno. She had fallen in love, truly. Some things the heart simply chooses without permission. That night, over dinner and a bottle of red wine, Romeo teased her about how badly the meal paired with the wine. She only laughed and toasted with him. They made love again this time, sober, aware, and ready to take responsibility for each other. Still, something puzzled her. Why did Romeo always seem so unsure of himself around her? She was the one who had promised to love him, yet he kept acting like he had to earn her heart every single day. So, while they lay together, fingers intertwined, she pulled out a custom-made ring and slid it onto his finger. Romeo, I want to take full ownership of this choice. Will you marry me? Proposing in bed, probably not something many women do. And definitely not while crying and gasping for air. Romeo, who had just moments before been moving like a beast, froze completely as if someone hit pause. His eyes filled with tears just like hers. The look on his face, it was almost too beautiful to bear. Of course, he whispered. When the ring touched his finger, he didn't move. Their position was awkward, but his gaze stayed locked on the ring. After a long silence, he leaned in and kissed her gently. You're the one who proposed, Zoe. You're not allowed to back out now. No running from the altar. She couldn't hold it in. Laughter broke through her heavy breathing. I'm not backing out.
Just
hurry up already. She gave him a light kick in the chest, snapping him out of his trance. He laughed and pulled her close again. I know how to keep you from escaping the wedding. Let's have a baby. That way, marriage is mandatory. I win. Blushing furiously, she kicked him again. You shameless man. Some people laugh, some cry, and Bruno didn't know which one he was anymore. He thought he liked Laura. At least, that's what he told himself. But he was the one who kicked her out. And yet, Zoe remained completely gone. Not a single word from her. Without realizing it, Bruno had already unblocked her number. Deep down, he still believed if she called him again, crying and begging, he might forgive her. He might let her back in. But there was nothing. 100 days. Not a single message. Laura, growing frustrated, confronted him. I thought I was the one you wanted. I'm young, pretty, aren't I your type? Then why are you dumping me too? Maybe, just maybe, she had fallen for him. But she didn't understand.
Why?
If I did everything right, if I'm better, brighter, why am I being discarded too? Bruno simply replied, I got bored. 2 words. Case closed. Just like with Zoe. But this time, there was no other woman waiting. He had no one. Sometimes he'd drink too much. Sit in silence. And Laura, watching him spiral, finally understood. She let out a bitter laugh, tucked the check he gave her into her purse, and looked at him with frozen eyes. 10 years and you got bored. 10 weeks, same result. What next 10 days? Honestly, I don't know what the hell you're looking for anymore. Then, with the last shred of dignity she had, she spat her words at him. The people you throw away don't come back. And I don't just mean me. I mean the ex who put up with you for 10 years. The last time I came here, I ran into her. In the hallway. It was her birthday, wasn't it? Your anniversary, too. She walked out into the rain crying, holding a ring box. Pathetic, really. Before she could finish, Bruno grabbed the bottle in front of him and smashed it against the floor. Glass and liquor exploded across the room, slicing a long, deep gash into his arm. Silence.
Blood.
No one moved. No one dared. Bruno glared at her, eyes burning. Get out. Only after Laura left did his friends dare approach. What's wrong with you, man? You hurt yourself over a girl? Seriously? But Bruno wasn't listening. He pulled out his phone and dialed Zoe's number.
Blocked.
Again. His face twisted darker. He turned to one of his friends and snapped, call her. The poor guy froze, terrified his new phone would meet the same fate as the bottle. What do I even say? She doesn't know me. And after what you did, she probably hates all of us. Tell her I'm hurt. That I cut myself. Ask if she even gives a damn. Everyone saw it now. Bruno was the first to break. His friend sighed and finally dialed. The phone rang.
And rang. And rang.
Then Zoe's voice. Cold. Distant. What do you want? That same tone she'd used the day she left. Sharp.
Detached.
Bruno stared at the blood on his arm, watching it drip to the floor. His friend grimaced, rolled his eyes, and forced a polite voice. Zoe, hey. Bruno's not doing so great. He's really hurt. Like bleeding. He just got out of the hospital for an ulcer, and now this silence. Nothing. No sound at all. It felt like she'd already hung up. Zoe, he tried again. Would you come see him? Just check on him? He really, and then, cutting through the stillness, a male voice answered in the background. Zoe, do you want to have the wedding at this church? In that moment, the entire room turned colder than a funeral. Bruno stood frozen, like someone had driven a stake straight through his heart. He couldn't believe what he'd just heard. Then Zoe spoke calm, unwavering. I'm busy. Don't call me again over something so stupid. As soon as her voice disappeared, something in Bruno snapped. He snatched the phone from his friend and screamed with rage. Busy with what? I asked you what the hell you're so busy with. You're getting married? To who, Zoe? Who? No matter how loud he shouted, Zoe was already gone. His friend, awkward and quiet, muttered. She hung up. Bruno let out a guttural roar and slammed his fist into the phone, shattering it. Crack. The screen exploded into glass shards. The poor guy dropped to the floor, trying to salvage what was left, looking like he was about to cry, but he didn't dare say a word. He knew he was the biggest victim here, but he kept his mouth shut. Bruno screamed again. She lied. She fooled all of us. Zoe's not getting married. She's still madly in love with me. This is all just a game. She's playing cat and mouse again. Silence. After a long, heavy pause, a girl in the corner finally stood up. She looked at Bruno with disgust. I'm done with you, Bruno. After all these years, you deserve this. You seriously, completely deserve it. You stole 10 years from Zoe and threw her away with a "I got bored." And now you're here throwing a tantrum? Saying she loves you like crazy? I've known Zoe for 10 years too. She has dignity. She held on because of the past, because she still believed in a future with you. She wanted to leave you so many times, but stayed because she had hope. You were the one who let her go. And now that she's moving on, damn right she's marrying someone else. It's the least she deserves. You're garbage, Bruno. You don't deserve anyone's love. Zoe leaving you was the best decision she's ever made. If you want to act like a man, do it somewhere else. Go home and think about how pathetic you've become. With that, she grabbed her purse and walked out. The rest of the group remained speechless. Even the guy with the broken phone sighed and stood up. Bro, think it over. Seriously. Stop dragging us into your mess. If you really can't move on, what's so hard about apologizing? Humbling yourself for once. And with that, he and a few others left. In minutes, Bruno was alone. This can't be happening, his voice trembled. For the first time, he faced what he truly felt after losing Zoe Fear. He didn't know how much time had passed. Enough for the blood on his arm to stop dripping. Enough for his lips to turn pale. Finally, in a daze, he whispered, I won't let you get married. He bolted through the door, frantically dialing Zoe's number while running. Laura's words echoed in his head. A ring she wanted to propose to me that day. Meanwhile, on Zoe's end, right after hanging up, Romeo wrapped his arms gently around her from behind, resting his head in the crook of her neck like always. Are you mad at me? He asked quietly. She looked at him, puzzled. Mad at you? Why? Romeo mumbled like a guilty child. I knew who was on the phone, and I still spoke to provoke him. Are you going to hate me for that? Are you going to go back to him? Do you still hurt because of him? One question after another, not letting her speak. His voice sounded unsure, sad. She waited for him to finish, then answered each one. We both knew who it was. And we both knew why he coledo test me. But I don't love him anymore.
So I didn't feel a thing.
And yes, I know you did it on purpose and I loved it. Why would I be mad about something that's satisfying? She smiled. Go back? Sure, I'll go back to China. To present my new design collection. By the way, are you coming with me? Romeo was quiet for a moment. Then, he gently turned her around and kissed her. Of course. I'm your husband, aren't I? The wedding was supposed to be a rushed affair. Her schedule was packed. But Romeo cleared his calendar to plan everything himself. He wanted to handle every detail, even design their wedding rings. As for Zoe, the fashion designer in her picked up the pencil again and started sketching her wedding dress. She based the design on what she thought he'd like. But he stopped her. Make it how you want. You're the one getting married, not me. I love you, so I'll love everything you love. I just want you to wear a dress that makes you truly happy and a ring I made. There was mutual respect between them. That's why they almost never fought. Romeo loved her deeply. And she was finally learning how to love him right. His insecurities were beginning to fade. This was the life she had always wanted. In the end, they decided on 2 weddings, one in Milan and one back home. The Milan wedding was small, just friends and colleagues. Simple, but full of love. She never imagined someone would try to ruin even that. Do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold, in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer, for as long as you both shall live? I do. Honestly, she always suspected Romeo's cold, tough exterior was just a mask. Because who was this man, crying like a child in front of her now? She made a playful comment, but the priest shot her a disapproving look. And do you, the bride, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? She looked at Romeo's face, full of hope and wonder. She didn't answer immediately. Her mind flooded with memories, all their moments together. What irony. 10 years with Bruno didn't give her love. And with Romeo, she found it in just a few months. She didn't think she'd cry. But when she saw Romeo's tear-filled eyes, she broke too. Come on, love, say I do. Romeo begged nervously, as if scared she'd say something crazy. She smiled. She doesn't. Before she could finish, the one person she never wanted to see again burst into the ceremony.
Bruno.
There was nothing left of the cocky, charming man she once knew. His beard was scruffy, face gaunt like he had traveled through hell to get here. In his hand, he held a red velvet box, the same one that once held the rings she designed long ago. It was dirty and stained, but he lifted it like a prize. Zoe, stop punishing me. I get it. Come back to me. Leave Romeo. Be with me again. Look, Bruno said, holding up the red velvet box like it was sacred. I found the rings you designed. We can get married the moment we're back. I kicked Laura out these past days. Really? His voice cracked. I've missed you. He looked at her with desperation, as if every word physically hurt him. Come back to me. You won't have to work anymore. Just be my wife like you always wanted. I can give you everything you dreamed of. Didn't you want to marry me? Isn't that what you waited 10 years for? Come with me. But before Zoe could even react, Romeo moved. In front of everyone, friends, colleagues, guests, Romeo, who was always composed, polite, and sharp-tongued but never crass, lost it. He lunged forward and tackled Bruno to the floor, punching him relentlessly. His shouts were so fierce that even the priest, who barely understood the language, instinctively crossed himself in shock. Bruno fought back, fists and curses flying in all directions. His words were vile, accusing Romeo of stealing his woman, twisting every sentence into an insult. When Bruno finally broke free and charged at Romeo with full force, Zoe stepped off the altar and stood between them. She stared Bruno down with eyes cold as ice. Touch my husband, and you'll regret it. Neither I nor our baby will ever forgive you. Romeo froze, stunned. Then his face softened with emotion, and he rushed to shield her.
Bruno stood still, dumbstruck.
You're pregnant. He reached out, his hand trembling. Zoe slapped it away. 10 years, Bruno. 10 years, I waited to marry you. 3 years, then another 3, and still I waited. But you never changed. You turned me into a joke. I'm 28 now. I'm no longer the 18-year-old girl who accepted your crumbs. I chose to stop loving you. And I have every right to pursue happiness on my own terms. I told you the day we broke up I never want anything to do with you again. Bruno looked like he couldn't breathe. His hands trembled as he held out the ring box, his voice cracking. You're lying. After 10 years, you stopped loving me just like that? Who the hell believes that? Even a dog grows loyal after 10 years. And you marry someone else like it's nothing? Zoe took Romeo's hand and stepped forward. You want to know the truth? Her voice was calm, cutting. At 18, it only took one lunch break for me to fall in love with you. For that fleeting moment of excitement, I gave you 10 years of my life. And now, at 28, it only took 2 months for me to fall in love with Romeo. And I say this with absolute certainty, those 2 months were enough for me to invest the next 50 years. She looked Bruno straight in the eyes. I don't love you anymore. And everything we had, I've let it go. She paused. Our youth? Consider it dog food. Then she raised her bouquet and hurled it with full force. Get out. And don't ever cross my path again. I do. She didn't even remember how Bruno left that day. Maybe he ran, maybe someone dragged him out. All she knew was that when she came back to her senses, the only thing left behind was that velvet ring box, the one that once meant everything. Now it was just a ghost. The past was dark and unreachable, but the road ahead was bright. Romeo knew it too. He squeezed her hand, the one wearing the ring he designed, and kissed it softly, reverently. From 18 to now, you've always been my favorite person. Zoe arched an eyebrow, amused. Romeo grinned wide. Well, now I've got competition, the little one in your belly. He laughed, eyes shining, and asked, "So, does this mean I'm close to reaching my ultimate goal? Getting you to fall completely in love with me?" She leaned in and kissed him gently. "Maybe," she whispered. "After all, I plan to spend the next 50 years with you."